Bookmark continues now with Toxic Talk, how the radical right has poisoned America's airwaves. Our good friend Bill Press, who visited us, I think, 2005, came to Embry-Riddle, is back with us today to talk about his book. Bill, it's great to see you again,
Mark,
sir.
nice to see you, too. Thank you. Good to be back in Florida.
And get to hear you on radio. Everybody said, Bill's going to be on again today? You got to ask him. How tough was it the day after the election for you?
Well, the day after the 2008 election was great.
Yeah.
The day after the 2010 election was pretty rotten. Yeah. Look, the economy's not doing great despite Obama's best efforts. And whenever the economy's not doing great, the party in power gets shellacked, as the president said. I was at the White House the next day for that news conference the president had in the East Room, and it was pretty grim. He tried to put the best possible face on it, but Democrats, his agenda, I'm afraid, just came to a screeching halt with John Boehner in charge of the House. I mean, they're not going to get anything done, I don't believe. So, I really regret for the American people what this means.
Healthcare. They're talking about trying to repeal healthcare.
They're crazy. They're nuts. I mean, we've been talking all of our life, it seems, about getting universal health care in this country. So we finally got a big chunk of it. Not as much as I wanted, right? Didn't have a public plan option. But it's a damn good bill. It really is. So what I want to know with these Republicans is, first of all, what part of health care do they want to repeal? Do they want to repeal the fact that parents can keep their kids on their plan until they're 26 years old? That's really good. Do they want to repeal the fact that insurance companies cannot drop you or refuse to sell you a policy because you have some pre-existing condition? In other words, the only people who can buy insurance are those who don't really need it.
Okay. Here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that they're concerned, business is concerned, that there may be undue burdens put upon them. And there's a 1099 form that they talked about trying to get rid of during the cleanup, during the lame duck session. That's what I hear the most about, Bill.
But you can fix something like that. That doesn't mean you repeal the whole thing.
And I don't think they can repeal the whole thing.
Well, first of all, I was going to say, eventually, right, they would need Obama's signature to repeal the whole thing, which they're not going to get. So it's all just partisan rhetoric. Doesn't mean anything really. But the fact that they would focus on that, I just is stunning to me. As far as businesses go, businesses for the first time really get a great tax benefit here if they offer health insurance to their employees. So for those businesses that are 25 employees or more, this actually helps small businesses get good employees and keep employees because they offer health care. So they get a tax break for doing the right thing. There's no reason for a business to complain about this.
You've been in public policy and politics for a long time. California, I remember your work there, and before we saw you on television. Did this president overreach the target? In other words, he wanted to fix health care, but maybe he should have been a little more focused on jobs. Would it have gone better for him on Election Day if he stayed focused on jobs?
You know what? Two things about that. I hear that, right? First of all, the very first thing he did, was the stimulus program. Now, they should have sold it better, but it's a jobs program. It is a jobs bill. $787 billion. It's the biggest jobs bill in this country since the Great Depression.
What kind of jobs, though, Bill?
The jobs are, first of all, they are a lot of public employee jobs, meaning they're teachers, they're firemen, there are EMT people, there are police officers who are on the job today. Those jobs would have been cut without the stimulus. Now, some people say they didn't create new jobs, they just saved existing jobs. But still, that's roughly maybe 1.5 million, 2 million people who would be unemployed today if it weren't for the stimulus.
But it's only short term, right? It's only short term?
No. Well,
after 2 years, you're on your own.
Meaning, the states, if the states don't have their stuff together, then they'll try to get some more money out of the federal government. But the other thing is construction jobs. Now, again, construction jobs may not last forever, but the thing about construction jobs, you're building a new stretch of highway, right? It's not just the guys who are out there building and women who are building that highway. Right? You got the suppliers, you got the people where they're buying their gas, where they're getting their cars fixed, where they're buying their lunch, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm very close to the construction unions. There's not one construction job that doesn't lead to another construction job. So the president did focus on jobs. And the other thing I'd say is the health bill is a jobs bill. When you expand 32 million people and bring them into a healthcare system, that means jobs for nurses and nurse practitioners and physician's assistants and all down the line.
Okay. I want to get to in here,
Okay.
which you're talking about Rush Limbaugh and I think Glenn Beck. You mentioned, are these two guys hurting? Do you feel they're hurting the country? As popular as they are people like Limbaugh and Beck hurting the country?
First of all, I talk about in the book, Toxic Talk, the fact that right-wing radio today talk radio today does not reflect this country because their talk radio today is 90% right-wing talk. We are not a 90% right-wing country.
But why do you think that is, William?
I'll tell you why it is. Because of ownership. The people who own the stations and own the companies that own the stations and own the networks are all right-wingers like Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah, but they're business people, too. Left wing, with the exception of you and a few others, doesn't sell.
Yes, it does. Let me tell you.
You and Gallagher are the most successful people I know.
Let me tell you. You go to Minneapolis, you go to Seattle, you go to Portland, you go to Buffalo, New York. I'm just trying to think of different places in the country.
Okay.
You go to Dallas, you go to Asheville, North Carolina, where progressive talk radio is on the air with a good signal and good shows. They're making money. They're getting good ratings. In some cases, I can show you. Tom Hartman, Ed Schultz beat Rush Limbaugh head to head.
You, Hartman, Schultz. But that's it. After that, and you guys are not.
You got Stephanie Miller. You've got Randy Rhodes.
It's hard to sell it, though. It's hard to sell it. Business people don't want to buy it.
Again, if you look at the success story, look at Minneapolis, St. Paul. They're the number one station out there, and they're making money. And it's an independent station. So number one, the point about the book is this imbalance, right? I don't want anybody censored, but I think there have to be more openings for progressive voices. Okay. Secondly, their talk that you hear from the right wing is ugly. It is personal. When Rush Limbaugh calls President Obama Imam boy, I mean, it's racist and everything you can say about it. Disgusting. And it doesn't have to be that way. And it's not only disgusting to listen to, I think it's dangerous. You know, Glenn Beck singled out the Tides Foundation, an environmental group in San Francisco, as the most dangerous force in America today. And the Oakland police arrested a guy. Fortunately, they stopped him for a traffic violation, had 3 guns in his car. He's going to San Francisco to wipe out the leadership of the Tides Foundation. Why? Because he heard Glenn Beck say that they were so dangerous. So toxic talk can lead to toxic actions. And I think it's dangerous for America. Yes.
Bill Press, our guest today, the author of the book Toxic Talk on Bookmark. Bill, it's great seeing you.
Hey, Mark. Thank you.
Good
See you in
to see you
Daytona
again.
next.
You got it.